All this means is that a coterminal angle is an angle that's either above 360 degrees or below 0 degrees, all right? So this is gonna require a bit of review on terminology and just what a circle looks like and how degrees work, okay? So we're always gonna start right here. We always start on this part of the x-axis right here, okay? And we're always gonna go counterclockwise, okay? So that means this right here, this is our initial side. So this is our initial point. If we go this way, this right here is 360 degrees all the way around. That should make sense, right? We have 0, 90, that creates a right triangle, right? We need a right angle. We have 180, that creates a straight line. We know that that is supplementary, right? 90 is complementary, 180 is supplementary. Now the full 360, coterminal, okay? So, if we know that the full circle is 360 going that way, then we can also do it in the negative, okay? So if we're going this way, if we're going clockwise, this is negative 360, okay? So, let's say I have an angle that is above 360 degrees, all right? So let's say we're starting here, let's say I have an angle that's above 360, so we go all the way around to 360, we've rotated all the way around to 360, and then we've gone a little more, just a little bit more. So let's say we're at 390. This right here, let's call this 390 degrees. Okay, does that make sense? We started at the initial angle, we went all the way around, and made it past 360 right here to this point. And we've created what is called our terminal side. Now, you should see that there's another angle forming here, from right here to right here. And that's what we want to be working with, right? Because we always want to be working with an angle that's between 0 and 360 degrees. That's easier for us to work with. So because this is bigger, all we have to do is just subtract out our circle that we formed, right? Which means that all we have to do mathematically is just take our 390 degrees that we have and just subtract 360. And we'll get 30 degrees, which means that this angle right here is 30 degrees. So that's all you have to do with coterminal angles. You just either subtract 360 or add 360 if you're in a negative. So let's do an example of that. Okay. So let's say we've decided that we're going to do negative 90 degrees. So we're going to start here, and instead of going counterclockwise, because that's positive, we're going to go clockwise, because clockwise is negative. So we start at our initial side, and we go here, negative 90 degrees. And we're going to end right here, and this is now our terminal side. Well, if I want to find out what the coterminal angle of this would be, I'm just going to go in the positive direction, right? This right here and this right here, they form the same angle, we're just reading them in different directions. All right, so if we have negative 90 degrees, all we're going to do is add 360, and we'll get 270. So that means that starting this way and going around the circle right here, we land at 270, and that should make sense because that's already written down. And that's all there is to coterminal angles. Now, the one important thing that this has to do with trig, right, is that because coterminal angles terminate on the same side, if they're placed inside of a unit circle, they have the same x and y coordinates, and I'll explain that in a second. Could you pause? Okay. So let's say we're doing 510 degrees. Well, we know we start right here, right? Here's our unit circle. Hopefully this feels familiar. You should know it. If not, that's one thing that we're going to heavily review the rest of this week following the assessment, right? But we should know that right here, again, is 0 degrees, and then at every point of this unit circle, our radius is 1. Pretend that I drew it nicely, and then it actually looks like that. Okay, so let's get to it. 510 degrees. We start right here at our initial side. There's our initial side. We go around 360. We go past it, and we're going to stop somewhere around here for 510. Okay? So this right here is 510 degrees. This point on the circle is very important because remember, in your unit circle, your x and y values correspond to your cosine and your sine, okay? And if you need further review on that, we will do a review on it, but for now, let's just look at the coterminal angles, right? Here we have 510 degrees. If we want to know what this point is on the graph, it will be easier to just find the coterminal. So all we're going to do is take 510, we'll subtract 360, and we'll get 150 degrees. So what does that look like on here? All we're doing is subtracting this right here. We're subtracting our 360, and we're left with this angle right here, which is 150 degrees. So that means that if we want to find the cosine or the sine or the tangent of 510, it's going to be the exact same thing as the cosine, sine, or tangent of 150. Why? Because 150 degrees and 510 degrees share the same coterminal side, which means they share the same exact point on the unit circle. They're the same, they're treated exactly the same. So that means this x value and this y value, right here, for 510 and 150, they're the same. And that's all there is to know about the coterminal angles. Yeah, there's not much more than that. I'm gonna cross this off. We're gonna do some worksheets practicing these last few concepts that we just went over. Check out the assignment.